In January 1959, a group of 9 young hikers set off on an ambitious expedition through the rugged Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia. Led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, the team consisted of experienced outdoorsmen and women, all students or graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute. Their goal was to reach the remote peak of Otorten, a challenging trek through the snow-covered wilderness. Unbeknownst to them, this journey would become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. The group embarked on their trek on January 27th. After the first day, Yuri Yudin, one of the hikers, fell ill and decided to turn back, sparing him from the fate that would befall his companions. The remaining 9 continued, undeterred by worsening weather conditions. They kept journals and snapped photos along the way, documenting their progress as they pushed deeper into the mountains. By February 1st, the hikers had reached the slopes of a mountain known as Kolat-Syakhl, which ominously translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. Due to heavy snowfall and strong winds, they decided to set up camp on the side of the mountain rather than descend to a more sheltered area. Little did they know that this decision would seal their fate. Days passed, and when the hikers failed to send their expected telegram upon completing the trek, a search party was dispatched. It wasn't until February 26th, nearly a month later, that the rescue team made a chilling discovery. The hikers' tent was found abandoned, half buried in snow, and strangely, it had been cut open from the inside. Their boots, warm clothing, and essential supplies were still inside, as if they had fled in a panic. Following a set of barefoot footprints, rescuers found 2 bodies near a forest, dressed only in underwear and light clothing, clearly unprepared for the freezing conditions. Nearby, a small fire had been attempted, but it was extinguished. 3 more bodies, including that of Dyatlov, were found between the tent and the forest, as if they had been trying to crawl back to safety. All 5 had died of hypothermia. The search for the remaining 4 hikers continued, and 2 months later, they were found deeper in the woods, buried under snow. Unlike the first victims, these bodies bore strange and severe injuries. One woman had massive chest fractures, and another hiker had suffered a fatal skull injury. Most disturbingly, one of the women was missing her tongue. The investigation into the incident quickly took a bizarre turn. Despite the injuries, there were no external wounds that could explain the trauma, and no signs of struggle. The force required to cause such injuries, according to the medical examiner, was comparable to that of a car crash, yet no such incident had occurred. The mystery only deepened when strange burns were found on some of the bodies, and nearby trees were singed, though no fire had been set. Various theories emerged to explain the strange circumstances surrounding the deaths. The most straightforward explanation was that an avalanche had struck the campsite, causing the group to flee in terror. But there were no signs of an avalanche, and the injuries didn't align with what an avalanche would cause. Another theory proposed the idea of infrasound, an eerie, low-frequency sound created by wind passing over the mountains. This rare phenomenon could have caused panic in the hikers, making them flee in disorientation. But again, this did little to explain the injuries or the missing tongue. Some speculated that the hikers had stumbled upon a secret Soviet military test, perhaps involving parachute mines or weapons. There had been reports of mysterious orange spheres seen in the sky by other hikers in the region that night, leading some to believe that the group had been caught in a deadly military experiment. However, the Soviet government remained tight-lipped, and no concrete evidence of a cover-up was ever found. More outlandish theories pointed to paranormal explanations, such as UFOs or a Yeti attack, though no footprints or evidence supported these claims. There was also speculation that the local Mansi tribespeople, who considered the mountain sacred, had attacked the hikers. However, there was no sign of violence, and the Mansi had always maintained peaceful relations with outsiders. The Soviet authorities eventually closed the case in 1959, citing the cause of death as an unknown compelling force. This vague explanation did little to satisfy the public's curiosity, and the Dyatlov Pass incident became the subject of endless speculation. In 2019, the case was reopened, and the official conclusion was that an avalanche was the most likely cause. Yet many experts and researchers remain unconvinced. The unexplained injuries, the missing tongue, the strange lights in the sky, all these elements continue to fuel the mystery.